Good morning. I'm Pete Najarian. This is The Take. And yes, the week is almost done. Here we are on Friday, and basically all you've got to do is rewind, and you'll see exactly the whole game playing out again. Volatility, absolutely. We are seeing huge moves in the market. As a matter of fact, yesterday, one of the furthest that we've seen the markets getting hit for this year. As a matter of fact, down over 600 points on the lows, closed near the lows. And it was in that final couple hours again where we had a lot of selling once again, but it was under pressure all day long for the most part. Matter of fact, the Dow, the final couple hours, couple hundred points to the downside. You look over at the NASDAQ, similar, down 3%, a little bit more than the Dow, which was down almost 2%, but 3% for the NASDAQ. A lot of that happening towards the very end of the day as well, down about 410 points to the downside. We did have the Russell as well. I don't hit that as often, but that was down about 2.5% as well. So across the board, you're looking at these indices all getting just absolutely hammered yesterday. And why? Because obviously, as everybody knows now, but we've been hearing more and more about Ukraine. A lot of folks just dismissed it immediately once there was all that, the talk about, well, they're really pulling back the Russians. We were just talking about that, John and I, before I came on here. Just an absolutely ridiculous statement to say that one moment was where it stopped. I think, and now I think everybody's starting to understand that that's probably not the way this is going to play out. And this is something that's going to play out for a lot longer period of time than many of the people that think this is going to be very short term. So with the selling that we've gotten, technology absolutely got hammered to the downside. That was down about 3%. Semiconductors, they were the worst sector of all, down about 4% yesterday. Consumer discretion down about 2.5%. Financials piggybacking onto this as well. That was down, sector down close to 2.5%. Industrials, materials, you get the idea. Most everything. The only area that actually kind of hung in there a little bit was energy. And why is that? Well, because crude trading somewhere between 91 and 93 actually finished just underneath 92 yesterday, holding up in that area somewhere close to 90. And that was giving the energy at least a little bit of a boost to the upside. Matter of fact, those beta names yesterday did have pretty good day for most of the day and closed in positive territory. Names like Marathon, Devon, which we've talked about, and all that unusual option activity we were talking about. Pioneer, another one of those names. Kraft Heinz yesterday did follow through, started the day strong, finished the day strong, up about 3%. I can say the same thing about Cisco, which is amazing because as you see the technology names getting hammered to the downside, like we did yesterday, and down about 3% on the NASDAQ, you look over at Cisco, and yes, they had their report, and yet they were able to hold on to the gains. A lot of the time you will see some of those names actually getting pulled with the rest. But actually, that was a name that was holding on, along with Walmart, which was up about 4% yesterday. People looking for an area that they consider to be safe. Coke was also up a couple of percent. But the selling really did hit in a lot of other areas across many, many sectors. Caterpillar was down 4%. Microsoft was down 3%. JP Morgan down 2.5%. You get the idea. Salesforce down 5.5%. Then you look at some of those higher multiple names like a Zoom, like a CrowdStrike, like a Microchip, down about 8% or somewhere close to that, 6 to 8%. We also had NVIDIA yesterday. Now that was, I think it was the outlook that everybody was the most disappointed with, but in any case, down about 7.5%. Throw in Albemarle, a stock that many people were just thrilled about this stock. That was down 19% yesterday. Gives you a little bit of an idea of the aggressive selling and how hard some of these names were getting hit. And that gives you that kind of move that we were seeing yesterday, specifically in the NASDAQ itself. So it started off a little bit quiet. We actually were in positive territory early on, triple digits to the upside on the Dow. Had a nice run for the NASDAQ, also triple digits to the upside. As we get a little closer to the opening, all of a sudden we're getting closer to flat for the NASDAQ. We were down actually about 40 points for the Dow. We've kind of shifted around. There's been some movement. There's no doubt about it. We were negative. We got up into positive territory for the Dow. And last I looked, we were relatively flat. We were starting to see a little bit of an acceleration to the downside in the NASDAQ. That's in this first hour. We all know how much can happen in the next several hours, in particular, that last hour or two of the day where we see a lot of the reaction, specifically just looking at yesterday. So A lot of sectors moving around, but not in a huge way. As a matter of fact, didn't see a whole lot moving more than about a 0.5% or so, up or down. You look at the financials, they were up about a 0.5%. Energy down about a 0.5%. Why? Well, crude started to pull back a little bit. It dipped underneath 90 for a moment. Last I looked, it actually had recovered, got back up towards that 91 level. We'll see what happens with these energy names. Technology down just about 0.25% early on. Semiconductors down about 0.5% early on. I think we're seeing a little bit more acceleration as we see what's going on with the NASDAQ. Actually, last I looked, NASDAQ down, call it 65 points or so. So a lot of different movement, a lot of different movers right now, a lot of earnings still coming out. And when you look at some of these names that are holding on, it's been earnings related. I look at Dollar Tree up about 4%, Kraft Heinz again up about 3%, nice follow through. Ulta up about 3%. Netflix kind of bouncing a little bit, not a lot, 2.5% or so. Ross Stores, Cisco actually building upon yesterday as well. But then you look over and you see Intel down 4.5%, getting smacked. You see Nvidia again under pressure, 2%. Deere, which started off in positive territory, if I'm not mistaken, I thought that there was a stock that was looking pretty solid early on post earnings. That was down about 2%. Chinese names under pressure. Look at PDD and JD under pressure, down about 4% or something very close to that. I got two unusuals, then I'm done for the day. By the way, I apologize. I thought I was actually scheduled to be on the halftime report today. Complete mix-up on my side of things. So that is not happening today. I will see you next week. I don't think I'm on till Wednesday or Thursday next week. We'll see. A lot of things can happen between now and then, but it's my fault for the scheduling. And I said I'd be on tomorrow yesterday. I am not on today. So I apologize about that, unless there's a last minute call or something like that. So I got two of them for you. I got Altria, MO, formerly Philip Morris. Now that one trading just underneath 52, 51.80, about 3,500 of the March 4th expiring 53 calls being bought there. 26 cents up to about 40 cents. Interesting to see this one because we just haven't seen in that segment of trade, we haven't seen a whole lot of option activity. Interesting to see in the quote unquote sin stocks, right? I mean, that's what they're always grouped in. Next, I've got AAL. So we're talking about American Airlines. We've been talking about the airlines, the ups and the downs. We've had a lot of activity in jets of late over the last few weeks. They've been right. They've been correct on the direction. It's been very, very solid. We'll see if they're correct still, but American Airlines hitting stock was trading about 18.20. 4,100 of the March 4th expiring 19.5 calls. So a nice little move to the upside expected over the next couple of weeks. Those were going for about 31 cents to 32 cents. So an inexpensive, relatively cheap shot, but got 2 weeks for this to pan out, and we'll see if that happens. We've seen a lot more activity of late in those airlines. I will mention this too. And something I mentioned to the producers at halftime when I was talking to them earlier this morning. We are seeing an incredible amount of gold hitting of late in the gold world, whether it be a GDX or specific gold names like Barracks and some of the rest of them. But we have been seeing a steady roll of more and more and more of that coming into these markets. A lot of people are always searching for different areas. In the past, it used to be, well, you know, you're looking for a little bit of something outside of the equity markets, and people all are looking at silver and gold and those types of commodities. We'll see if that actually pans out, but I will tell you this, consistently we have been seeing over the last week or two more and more and more of that on our unusual options seekers. And as a matter of fact, on the heat seeker, we've had, as you all know, for a long time, we've had energy. That's been going back about 16, 18 months. Energy. They've been right on that. Financials, same story. Hitting and been right time after time after time. Starting to see a little bit of a rotation maybe and seeing these golds. We'll keep you apprised of that, but I just wanted to mention that as well as something to keep your eye on over the next couple of weeks because we have been seeing that kind of option paper in that segment. Folks, have a great weekend. If I don't see you before then, I look forward to seeing you on Monday. Watch NASCAR. We've got that car. I got to tell you something, the Market Rebellion car with Tommy Joe Martins. It's going to be really exciting. We're excited to get out to Daytona this weekend. It's going to be great. Have a great weekend.